Hollywood's most legendary star, Jack Nicholson, is facing heartbreaking news that has shocked fans around the world. From his iconic career to his personal struggles, here is the story unfolding now. Jack Nicholson is a name that instantly brings to mind cinematic greatness. For over half a century, Nicholson defined what it meant to be a Hollywood star. With his devilish grin, electrifying charisma, and unmatched talent, he commanded the screen in ways few others could. From One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to The Shining and As Good as It Gets, Nicholson gave us performances that are etched permanently into the history of film. Yet today, the headlines surrounding him are not about awards or blockbuster films. Instead, they are about something far more somber. The news now focuses on his health, his reclusive lifestyle, and the reality that time spares no one, not even icons. To understand the gravity of this heartbreaking update, we need to look back at the journey that brought him here. Early life and career beginnings. Jack Nicholson was born on April 22, 1937, in Neptune City, New Jersey. His childhood was filled with drama, worthy of a film itself. For much of his young life, Jack believed his grandmother was his mother and his real mother was his sister. It was a secret his family kept until a journalist uncovered the truth years later. This early twist of fate perhaps helped shape the complex characters Nicholson would later portray on screen, characters that often blurred the line between charm and chaos. Nicholson moved to Los Angeles as a teenager and began working at MGM's cartoon studio as an office boy. He was drawn to the entertainment industry but had his sights set on acting. Through persistence and determination, he began landing small roles in low-budget films. It was not until the late 1960s, however, that his big break arrived. In 1969, Nicholson appeared in Easy Rider, the counterculture classic that gave him his first Academy Award nomination. Suddenly, the industry recognized his brilliance. What followed was a decade of domination. Films like 5 Easy Pieces, Chinatown, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest cemented him as one of the most versatile and daring actors of his generation. His performance in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest earned him his first Oscar, and it was a role that defined him: rebellious, magnetic, and unforgettable. Nicholson was not just acting, he was living his characters, and audiences could feel the authenticity in every scene. By the 1980s, Nicholson was untouchable. His role as Jack Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining remains one of the most terrifying and iconic performances in cinematic history. The line, "Here's Johnny," is etched into pop culture forever. Later, his turn as the Joker in 1989's Batman proved he could blend menace with charisma in ways that thrilled audiences around the world. The Private Jack. While Nicholson thrived professionally, his personal life was often a subject of fascination. Known for his love of parties, his Hollywood romances, and his friendships with some of the biggest names in the industry, he seemed larger than life. Yet, there was always a more private Jack, one who guarded his personal struggles carefully. He never married but was linked to many women, including Angelica Houston and Rebecca Broussard, with whom he had children. Over the years, he became a father figure, not just to his biological children, but also to countless younger actors who looked up to him as a mentor. By the 2000s, Nicholson's appearances on screen became less frequent. While he continued to deliver powerful performances, like in The Departed and Something's Gotta Give, fans noticed he was stepping back. His last major film role came in 2010 with How Do You Know? Rumors began to swirl about why one of the greatest actors alive had stopped working. Some said he wanted to retire on a high note, while others whispered about declining health. Over time, the whispers grew louder, and the heartbreaking truth started to emerge. The heartbreaking news emerges. reports began surfacing that Jack Nicholson was battling memory loss, possibly linked to dementia or Alzheimer's disease. Friends claimed he was retreating from public life because he no longer felt comfortable performing at the level he demanded of himself. For a man whose entire life had been dedicated to his craft, this was devastating. While Nicholson never confirmed these reports publicly, his absence spoke volumes. Once a regular presence courtside at Los Angeles Lakers games, he stopped attending regularly. The man who once thrived in the spotlight now chose isolation in his Beverly Hills mansion. This transition from Hollywood's brightest star to a recluse shocked his fans. It was difficult to reconcile the fiery, magnetic actor we saw on screen with the quiet, aging man described in recent news. And as time went on, the updates only grew more concerning. Jack Nicholson's story reminds us that even the brightest stars cannot escape the passage of time. His situation echoes the heartbreaking decline of other Hollywood legends who once seemed invincible. For fans, the news is not just about one man's health struggles. It is about the realization that an era is coming to an end. The retreat from public life. Nicholson was once a familiar face at almost every major Hollywood event. Whether it was the Oscars, Lakers games, or charity galas, he was known for showing up with his trademark sunglasses and wide smile. His courtside presence at Lakers games became legendary, almost as iconic as the players themselves. Sitting in his seat near the court, Nicholson was as much a part of the Lakers' identity as Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant. But as the years passed, his appearances became fewer and fewer. By the mid-2000s, fans began noticing that he was absent from events he would never have missed before. The man who embodied the Hollywood lifestyle seemed to be retreating into privacy. At first, many believed Nicholson had simply chosen to retire gracefully, content to live out his days away from the flashing cameras. Yet soon, reports began to suggest something far more heartbreaking. Whispers began circulating that Nicholson was suffering from memory loss. Close friends hinted that he had difficulty remembering lines, a devastating condition for an actor whose craft relied on precision and timing. Some claimed he was struggling with dementia, while others suggested it was Alzheimer's disease. Though never confirmed officially by Nicholson himself, these reports painted a picture of a man facing the cruel reality of aging. For fans who had admired his sharp wit and electrifying energy, the idea of Nicholson battling memory decline was almost unthinkable. The mansion in Beverly Hills. Today, Nicholson is said to spend most of his time at his Beverly Hills mansion, surrounded by close family members and caretakers. The sprawling estate, once a gathering place for Hollywood's elite, has become a sanctuary where Nicholson can live quietly and peacefully. Neighbors occasionally spot him on his balcony, but sightings are rare. Sources close to the actor have described him as content, but frail, enjoying time with his children and grandchildren, yet no longer the vibrant figure who once dominated every room he walked into. The transformation has been painful for fans who grew up watching him bring unforgettable characters to life. The news of Nicholson's declining health has sparked emotional reactions across Hollywood. Fellow actors, directors, and industry insiders have spoken with reverence about his contributions to cinema. Martin Scorsese once called him a once-in-a-generation talent, while Meryl Streep referred to him as an actor who made everyone around him better. Younger actors, too, have expressed how Nicholson's performances inspired them to pursue their craft. Leonardo DiCaprio has often spoken about working alongside him in The Departed, describing it as one of the highlights of his career. But beyond admiration, there is also sadness. The realization that Nicholson may never return to the screen has left a void in Hollywood. For decades, he was the symbol of rebellious charm, the actor who could balance humor, menace, and vulnerability all in a single performance. To lose that presence feels like losing part of Hollywood's soul. Fans around the world. Fans have also taken to social media to share their heartbreak. Many post clips of his most iconic performances, celebrating the moments that defined his career. From his chilling delivery in The Shining to his vulnerable warmth in terms of endearment, audiences reflect on the ways Nicholson's work touched their lives. Some fans describe how his films carried them through difficult times, while others recall the thrill of watching him command the screen in a theater. His influence stretched far beyond Hollywood, reaching into the lives of people across generations and continents. For many, the heartbreaking news of his decline feels personal. Nicholson was not just an actor. He was part of their lives, their memories, their experiences. His characters became symbols, lessons, and companions. The thought of losing him, even if only from public view, feels like saying goodbye to an old friend. A legacy that cannot be replaced. Part of what makes this news so difficult is the realization that there will never be another Jack Nicholson. His talent, his charisma, his very essence was one of a kind. Hollywood has produced many stars, but few who could dominate the screen as Nicholson did. His versatility was unmatched. He could terrify us in The Shining, make us laugh in Something's Gotta Give, and move us to tears in terms of endearment. Each performance felt alive, unpredictable, and unforgettable. The idea that we may never again see Nicholson in a new role is heartbreaking. Yet, at the same time, his body of work ensures that he will live on forever. His films are timeless, his characters immortal. Through it all, Nicholson's family has remained by his side. His children, including Lorraine and Ray Nicholson, have spoken occasionally about their father's influence. Ray, who has pursued acting himself, often describes the pride he feels in carrying his father's legacy forward. While Nicholson himself has chosen silence, his family's quiet presence speaks volumes. They are not only caring for him in his final chapter, but also protecting his dignity, ensuring that his privacy is respected even as the world watches from a distance. The pain of watching icons age. Nicholson's situation highlights a truth that fans often struggle to accept. Watching our idols grow old is one of the most difficult realities. For decades, Jack Nicholson felt untouchable, a force of nature who could not be slowed down. Seeing him now, facing the same battles that countless families around the world endure, is a reminder that fame and fortune cannot shield anyone from time. The heartbreak comes not only from the news of his decline, but also from the realization that an era of cinema is closing. Nicholson was part of a generation of actors who defined Hollywood's golden age, and as they fade, so too does a piece of cultural history. Friends of Nicholson have hinted that his days are spent quietly, surrounded by comfort and love. There are no more scripts, no more film sets, no more crowds of fans. Instead, there are moments of peace, memories shared with loved ones, and the slow passage of time. For Hollywood, this is a period of reflection. For fans, it is a time to celebrate his achievements while coming to terms with the fact that their hero's story is entering its final act. A career that defined Hollywood. When people talk about the greatest actors of all time, Jack Nicholson's name is always near the top. His career spanned more than 5 decades, during which he played some of the most memorable characters in cinematic history. From the rebellious Randall McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to the chilling Jack Torrance in The Shining, Nicholson consistently pushed boundaries. He never played safe, instead taking roles that were daring, complex, and unforgettable. His ability to shift from comedy to drama to horror made him unique, and his sheer screen presence was unmatched. He was nominated for 12 Academy Awards, winning 3, an achievement that places him among the most decorated actors in history. Each award represented not just recognition, but a moment when the industry itself acknowledged that Nicholson had once again set the bar higher. Nicholson was more than just an actor. He was a symbol of rebellion. He challenged authority, broke rules, and lived on his own terms. On screen, he often portrayed characters who fought against systems of power, and off-screen, he embodied the same spirit. He never conformed to Hollywood's expectations. He dressed how he wanted, spoke candidly in interviews, and carried himself with a confidence that bordered on defiance. Fans loved him for it. He was proof that you could succeed by being unapologetically yourself. The heartbreaking present. And yet, the heartbreaking reality is that even rebels cannot defeat time. The man who once stood as Hollywood's ultimate free spirit is now described as frail and withdrawn. The news of his health struggles feels especially painful because it clashes so strongly with the image of vitality that defined him for decades. Still, even as his current condition reminds us of his humanity, it also highlights the extraordinary nature of his achievements. If Nicholson never makes another public appearance, his legacy remains intact. His work speaks louder than any news report ever could. Since the reports of his retreat from public life, tributes have poured in from across the film industry. Directors who worked with him describe him as a creative force unlike any other. Actors who shared the screen with him speak of his generosity, his intensity, and his ability to elevate every scene. Helen Hunt, who starred opposite him in As Good as It Gets, once said, "Working with Jack was like standing next to lightning. You could feel the energy, the unpredictability, and the brilliance." Leonardo DiCaprio described Nicholson as the standard we all look up to. These tributes are not just words of respect, they are acknowledgments of a man who changed the craft of acting forever. Fans holding on to hope. For fans, the heartbreaking news has been met with a mixture of sadness and gratitude. While they mourn the decline of their idol, they also celebrate the body of work he left behind. Social media is filled with montages of his best performances, quotes from his most famous characters, and heartfelt messages of thanks. Many fans express hope that Nicholson is comfortable and at peace in his private life. They understand that while they may never see him on the big screen again, his films remain a gift that can be revisited endlessly. The cultural impact. Nicholson's influence extends far beyond cinema. His characters became cultural touchstones, shaping how people thought about rebellion, power, fear, and love. His delivery of lines like, "You can't handle the truth," in A Few Good Men became part of popular culture, quoted in courtrooms, classrooms, and living rooms around the world. He also became an enduring symbol of Hollywood itself. Just as Humphrey Bogart and Marlon Brando defined earlier generations, Nicholson defined his. He was the face of a changing industry, one that embraced complexity, imperfection, and raw human emotion. As Nicholson lives out his final years in privacy, it is clear that he has chosen dignity over spectacle. He does not need to make public statements or final appearances. His life's work is already complete, his impact already permanent. Friends close to him describe his days as peaceful, filled with family and quiet reflection. It is not the ending fans may have imagined for their larger-than-life hero, but it is a reminder that every story, even those of legends, eventually turns inward. Jack Nicholson's life offers powerful lessons. He showed us the importance of taking risks, of embracing authenticity, and of leaving a mark that goes beyond fame. His current situation, painful as it may be, reminds us that greatness is not erased by age or illness. It lives on in memory, art, and the hearts of those who were touched by it. His story also reminds us to value the present, to cherish the artists who inspire us while they are still here, and to never take cultural icons for granted. As we reflect on the heartbreaking news for Jack Nicholson, it is important to see this not only as an ending, but as the final act of a story that has inspired millions. His health struggles may limit his presence in our world, but they cannot erase what he has already given us. Nicholson will always be remembered as the rebel who redefined acting, the star who brought unforgettable characters to life, and the man whose charisma lit up every room he entered. His films will continue to teach, entertain, and inspire long after he is gone. The final truth is this: Jack Nicholson's legacy will never fade. As long as people watch movies, his work will live on. Generations to come will discover The Shining, Chinatown, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and countless others, and they will feel the same awe audiences felt decades ago. In the face of heartbreaking news, that is the comfort fans and Hollywood alike can hold on to. Legends may grow old, but their stories remain timeless. If Jack Nicholson's story touched your heart, honor his legacy by liking this video, subscribing for more Hollywood stories, and sharing so others can remember the legend behind the news.